You know what? I can't take that type of disrespect. That's disrespect. I'm not gonna deal with that. That's disrespect. And it's like, okay, brother, but like, really and truly, it's a grain of sand in the ocean for you. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just looked it up. He made 800,000 last year.
Mhm.
That's a lot of money.
It is.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, like, if I made $800,000, like, I'd be running these streets. Like, no shorty could bother me.
Although, it's not really 800,000 that he's touching, but
Okay, so I guess he's getting
800,000 he's probably touching like 354.
There's doctors saving lives that make like 100.
Yeah.
Like, and they are stealing all my dates at the bar if I'm there.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what's up? It's Kenyaga Malali with, I think, your 7th episode of the Can I Kick It podcast. 6th, not 7. Gonna have to stop doing that. You know, we're here talking a lot of basketball and just other stuff, you know what I mean? Everything goes back to basketball for me, so
Of course.
we'll see how that turns out today. But topic of the day today, let's get right into it. Terence Davis was arrested in New York on some assault and battery charges.
This is true.
I would love to be a fly on the wall to know what happens with these things because it's always just such a one-sided story. You know what I mean? A star athlete hits a woman. It always turns out a star athlete is that kind of guy. And then it all of a sudden disappears and, you know, maybe there's some talk about payoffs and things of that sort. But I mean, I don't know. Have you heard the story?
I've heard the story, but for the viewer that doesn't know what we're talking about, just give him some context.
I think what I read, if I can quote it correctly on TMZ, is he was at the young lady was at a hotel visiting her boyfriend. She happens to be Terence Davis's ex. And for some reason, Terence Davis was there. The young lady alleges that he punched her in the face, took her phone away, and broke it. And she went to the hospital.
Mhm.
She checked out. She didn't have any structural injuries. Like, I'm not sure how bruised she was, if she was bruised at all.
Yeah. From my point of view, I didn't see any type of footage.
Yeah, I didn't see that either.
Terence Davis,
Yes.
star rookie guard for the Toronto Raptors,
Yeah.
charged 7 different counts.
That's a lot of counts.
What's that?
But that's a lot of counts. It sounds like a
is.
lot.
7 counts, including child endangerment.
Her
There
kid
was
was
an
there.
assault charge.
Oh. I
I'm
don't know
just
if it's
assuming
it's
it's
so
his
hazy.
ex-girlfriend now.
Yeah, oh, wow.
But
I mean, you would have said that with Ray Rice, and then a couple weeks later they were
They got
signing.
married.
Yeah, as soon as he got paid.
yeah, but yeah, the story, the way I heard it, was quite simply. Actually, I didn't hear a full story. I just heard that apparently in a hotel room, he assaulted his girlfriend, and then I heard that one of the charges were child endangerment, which throws me off.
Yeah, what time was it? 8:30. Maybe she was with a kid.
Yeah. But you said that the way you heard the story, there was another guy involved?
I just heard she was visiting her boyfriend. And when you say her boyfriend and then identify Terence Davis as a different party, that means that there's another dude.
Yeah, that's...
You know, it's wild, you know. I don't know if he did it or not. I hope he didn't do anything of that sort. But those are very... I'd like to talk about how those stories come out and how they're addressed.
Mhm.
Right? Because I think we're at the point in the world where we're fighting to be heard, equality, a lot of different things that have come up over the last couple months.
Mhm.
You know, I don't know if anybody else from Toronto heard of the Parkdale Predator. And there was a couple stories of this guy driving around in a truck catcalling women and asking them for directions and whichever. Now, I don't know if I was missing a second page of the paragraphs, but I don't know how many physical altercations this guy had actually been in with women or if he had jumped out the car or anything. But I know a lot of guys that catcall women, right? And it just... Is it the catcall that is now... somebody write me and let me know. Is the catcall canceled? Are we canceling the catcall? Are you not allowed to holler at women?
Oh, never
from
that.
From the truck? Is it canceled? Are you not allowed to do that? And I'm not being sarcastic.
Never that.
I just didn't like when I read the story and she's like, yeah, and I've never been more scared in my life. And I'm like, okay, but did he get out the car? Did he say? You just said that he asked you for directions and spun around and asked you for directions again. I've been on Caravana Young Street and a whole lot of that shit happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've been talked to by like that by a lady before. Not that I'm.
Yeah, and I feel great.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
ladies.
I don't wanna minimize anybody's trauma. Well, it doesn't happen to men very often. I don't know if you're like me, but yeah, I feel great when it happens most of the time.
Yeah. So
I just, it's, and I'm saying that to say like with the whole Terence Davis thing, even the whole Tory Lanez thing, it's like these details are very murky, like, and the media doesn't do a good job of telling people that you're innocent after the fact. Or guilty after the... If you're guilty, they'll tell you. They'll tell everybody that you're guilty. But if they turned out they were wrong and you actually didn't do anything...
yeah, they're not trying to correct the story. At the end of the day, the lie is better than the truth. It's more entertaining, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like, we have like, if we're really doing this whole social, justice thing, which I don't have a problem with, I think, that men need to be educated that, it's not, there's a time and place especially, and not every woman you're supposed to interact with that, and there's keys that you should be able to pick up on. But if you see, I mean, there's something to be said for shooting your shot.
Yeah.
Right? But anyways, this is not what Terence Davis did. Apparently he punched a girl in the face.
So let me address that and the Terence Davis thing in the same breath.
Okay.
First and foremost, I'm going to say right out the gate, because I know this can be taken out of context real easily.
Oh, yeah.
and I think I speak for both of us when I say that if Terence Davis punched his girlfriend in the face, that's fucked up.
Yeah, you don't need to punch the girl in the face. You don't need to raise your hands. Even if there's another guy involved, I don't know. You just let her go, man. You're an NBA player. It ain't over for you.
Punch that other guy in the face.
You don't need to punch the other guy in the face either.
You don't need to, but if you have no choice and you got to punch somebody, punch the other dude in the face.
I will not perpetuate that violence. You don't need to punch anybody in the face over a girl.
No one needs to be punched in the face. However,
I don't care what you caught your girl doing. That's not your girl then. You just need to know that.
But with that said,
yeah,
I think this is a really touchy subject because
people get very sensitive about this one.
Especially when it's their own relationship, they
domestic is a thing. I don't.
Domestic is really touchy. Violence is. See, violence is the only place where I'm dancing around this, but I feel like violence is not acceptable.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Violence is not acceptable.
They said that she had refused to stop taping him. Maybe he was acting out of sorts, saying some wild shit. Sometimes when men love a girl, when people are in a situation of high emotion.
Yeah, when you're in your feelings.
Yeah, you saying wild shit. Like, it happens. Like, I don't think there's relationships where it doesn't happen. I think being able to deal with that, not necessarily being able to accept it, but to deal with it in a manner that's cognitive. Like, you got to keep your cool, man. Like, you can't not tie, especially when you're making that kind of money. Everything you do is possibly a consequence that involves you spending more money.
So when it comes to Terence Davis, when we talk about making that kind of money, Terence Davis is on a rookie contract.
Yeah, how much is that?
Well, he was a free agent, undrafted. You're in a position where you got to prove yourself. I don't know how many years he signed to, but if I had to guess as an undrafted free agent, 2-3 years maybe, and I would imagine under $1 million a year.
How much is Terence Davis getting paid?
I don't know what Terence Davis's salary was.
Okay, maybe it was undisclosed.
It might have been, but it'd probably be on Hoops Hype. Like, I don't know why they ever put that up, that whole undisclosed thing, because they always have it somewhere.
This is true.
As per team policy, the whatever the contract, whatever.
But
it's probably something legal that I don't understand.
But regardless, the exact number, I guess that's not that important.
Yeah, because it's not that low.
Well, he's not making millions per year.
He's not making under 100,000.
Oh no, for sure.
Right?
He's in the league. He's still getting paid.
Yeah, like,
but
even if you make 600,000 for the year, you are making more money than the average.
I'm just saying, relative to the other people in the league, he's not making.
But relative
money.
to this chick, what does she do? Is she rich? Relative to her, he's probably making bags.
Well, true. However, domestic violence is a dicey situation, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump out there quite a bit.
Okay.
Not quite a bit. I'm going to jump out there a little bit by saying I'm not one of those people that just automatically assume that the female in the situation is the correct party in all of this. I don't. Just because from a personal standpoint, I've been in relationships with women.
Yes.
Where they're doing everything under the sky to antagonize me.
Yeah.
Everything possible to try to get under my skin.
Agreed.
Then you get a reaction that you weren't looking for. And then all of a sudden there's a problem with the person that you get the reaction from.
Listen,
now, with that said,
I'm
not condoning the reaction being punching somebody in their face.
Yes.
However, until more details of the story comes out, I'm not convinced. I'm a strong believer in innocent until proven guilty. Until details come out, I don't know if he punched her in the face. Because really and truly, I've actually witnessed other women get brushed or fall down of their own volition because they
took a swing.
Because they took a swing and lost their balance.
And then say you pushed them on the ground.
And then all of a sudden that becomes your fault.
Well, did you see that video of the people on the bus? And I guess the lady wasn't wearing a mask, and maybe the guy said something to her, and the lady full on spit in Mayut's face. And then he pushed her, and then he pushed her again, and she took a real, like, out the bus door, out the back doors. And the lady, you can hear the lady, and one of the ladies on the bus that's watching, she looks at the guy, she's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like,
to the guy that pushed her?
Yeah, the guy that pushed her, I'm like, just spit in his face, man. Like,
I thought spit was assault.
It is. It is. Like, I don't, my whole thing is like, ladies, I understand that men have a history of not being the greatest. I get that. On a totality, I've watched enough TV to see, a lot of men ain't shit. You know what I mean? Just on its own, how we've treated women. And I, for one, am big about doing better. I don't like it, right? And this is me. You want to get at me, but I hate it when a woman uses that as a crutch to be able to, interact with me in an abusive way. You know what I mean? And push all my buttons and try and emasculate me. And then when I tell her I feel emasculated, I'm put under this toxic masculinity thing. And it's like, well, come on now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
Right? So I get why it's a touchy situation. You know what I mean?
It's definitely a touchy situation. That goes without saying. I don't know, man.
He's a young kid, though. He's like 21.
Yeah.
21. And like, I've been
graduated from, where do you go, Arkansas?
Yeah, Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a rebel.
I've been in situations when I was younger. You know what I mean? Like, 21 is not a lot of growing, you know what I'm saying? Like, 21 is young. And that doesn't make him right at all. We need to teach our boys better, for sure. You know what I mean? That's why fathers are important. I've had a girl pull out keys on the highway or reach for the keys on the highway or, she slap you while you drive it or, you, like, at your mom's house and she beaking off and she, like, pushing you and whatever. Or, like, I had girls flat out punch me in the face. You know what I'm saying? And, like, at what point do I defend myself? You know what I mean? Right? And there's nothing a girl could say that would just make me pop her in the mouth for no reason. Nothing. Nothing a girl could say or do to me that would make me just be like, you know what? I'm punching you right in the face. Without you touching me or putting a hand on me, I'm just going to punch you in the face. I can't do that.
Yeah, I don't like to bring up old news, and I'm not laughing. But you ever see that video of Gucci punching that woman in her face?
Nope. Never seen it.
But we can work it out. Made 100,000 in my trap, huh? I used to watch out with y'all. It's like the part of the night. For real. Joe, what's out?
That is the epitome of, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people just assume this person had. I'm not in that position, but I'm going to draw the conclusion that a lot of people assume that this person has way too much to lose to do anything.
Exactly.
Or, wow, if this guy does something,
I'm going to get paid.
And what Terence Davis needs to learn, and it's easier said than done,
Yes.
is that there are those two people out there, and you have to learn how to walk away from them.
Yeah, you know what? Not for nothing. I think like Tory Lanez, right? I don't know what happened with him. Right? I don't know. The situation seems murky at best to me. So I'm not even gonna be like fuck Tory if he did it because I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Right? That story sounds convoluted, and nobody's really saying anything.
Well, there's no story.
Exactly. And then I seen Tory Lanez on, and I don't think she's a bad girl. You know what I'm saying? Seen him on Quarantine Radio last night, and he's like with chromas. You know what I'm saying? Who's been known to be a little bit, she's outspoken. She's very, very, you know what I mean? She has an opinion about it. Now, me being in a couple of relationships with some women that have an abusive way of talking to people around them, I have chosen not to engage in relationships with those type of women because it usually tends to say that you're going to catch it from them as well. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't need that, and that is the beginning of that situation. And I'm wondering if some of these guys is just liking them type of females, and I don't fucking know, man. I just think I think he's got a lot of growing to do, and I think you can't be in that situation, and regardless of what Shorty did or what she said, you need to be able to exit that situation without interacting with her face, or her phone. You need to be able to say, all right, that's cool, that's how you feel, I'm out. You know what I mean? That is the easiest way for you to de-escalate that situation.
In the same breath, we know nothing about what happened. It's easier said than done. To your point, he is a 21-year-old young man.
Yeah.
And she might have said some foul shit, and that doesn't excuse it.
Well, you gotta learn
she
to
might
walk
have said
away,
some
man.
foul shit, and as a result, he had a hard time removing himself from the equation. Now, whether or not he actually, I hate saying these words, punched her in her face, that remains to be proven.
Yeah.
I suspect, as we always see with so many domestic issues.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, I don't suspect. You said that she has another boyfriend or something.
I don't know. This is what I read. I read it twice, and I was like,
if I didn't hear about another boyfriend, then I would have suspected that we would have suddenly heard a recanting of what happened. But when there's another dude involved, you could just be in a situation where somebody's putting that battery in your back.
Yeah.
And as a result, you're trying to take the other person down, and that's unfortunate.
I was gonna get into how this affects the whole how do we think of Terence Davis and Fred VanVleet but I really don't. I'm not ready to talk about whether Fred's leaving or not because I think that's an even bigger conversation. I just think that the young men in the NBA, and this is why, like I said, this is why fathers are important, and for young black men, you need to understand walking away doesn't make you a bitch. Walking away doesn't make you, you know what I mean? What are you fighting for? You need to really understand what you fight, because we taught so many times to be like, oh, you know what? I can't take that type of disrespect. That's disrespect. I'm not going to deal with that. That's disrespect. And it's like, okay, brother, but really and truly, it's a grain of sand in the ocean for you. You know what I'm saying? I just looked it up. He made $800,000 last year. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of money.
It is.
You know what I mean? I'm not, if I made $800,000, I'd be running these streets. No shorty could bother me.
Although, it's not really 800,000 that he's touching, but
Okay, so I guess he's getting
800,000.
4.
He's probably touching like 354.
There's doctors saving lives
Yeah.
that make like 100.
Yeah.
Like, and they are stealing all my dates at the bars if I'm there.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, just you not getting it. What job are you signing up for tomorrow, right? That allows you to travel the world and get paid 800,000, whether or not you only get to touch 350. And believe me, they got the best accountants, so they're
That's
touching
U.S.
more.
too.
Yeah. What? Where?
I couldn't tell you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't happen. That he's so lucky to be in that position. And you willing to risk it because this shorty said some foul shit. You can say whatever you wanted about me. You can fuck whoever you feel like. Once you get deep enough to the NBA, they all fucking the same chick anyway.
Yeah, they're passing around the same women. Ask the Phoenix Suns.
Let's not even go there. Tereng-da.
But
She was such a proud hoe, that chick. That chick was such a proud hoe.
yeah. Yeah, we all seen that video.
Right? I don't understand the fight to be a proud hoe. Like, I don't get that. Like,
Yeah, but hold on. We don't want to break too
yeah,
far
you're right.
off
You're
topic.
right. You're right. You're right.
The young men, like we see it all the time. It's the idea of being disrespected. When I was 21, I still remember certain incidents where I'm thinking to myself, I'm not gonna let this nigga disrespect me
Yeah.
in front of my peoples, in front of
Yeah.
my girl. But removed from that situation, like a few years removed, I looked at it and thought to myself, man, thank goodness my boys were with me, because I was acting a little wild, and me at 5'6", 160 pounds, soaking wet, was not going to do anything to this 6'2" guy, but bounce off of his fist with my face. I compare it to drinking. I don't know if this was the case for you, but before I turned 25, whenever I was out drinking with friends, the friend that everybody kind of thought was cool was the one that was wild, wilding out. He's loud, he's doing shit, everybody's looking at him. He's 21, 22, he's drinking. As soon as you cross over 25, if your friend is doing that shit, everybody's looking at him sideways like, what the fuck is wrong with this?
Shut up, dog.
The cool friend is the one that drinks and he's under control.
Yeah.
Drinking and being under control when you're 21, 22, 23, they're looking at it like, who cares? But I want to be like that guy that's center stage, making all this noise, yelling at people about being disrespected and shit like that. But as soon as you grow up and you mature just a bit, I feel like 25 is that line, right? As soon as you cross over, then it's different. It's the person that's under control that everybody is kind of looking up to.
But should we not be teaching people that why not just be always under control? It was never really cool to be loud and boisterous.
It was, that's what I'm getting at. It was when I was 18, 19.
See, like, I don't know, man. I just think, like, especially for young black men, I'm not saying they should be silent or whichever, but to walk away from a certain situation a lot of the time makes a lot of sense.
It
To
does.
not have to pull out your phone and record or even participate sometimes makes a lot of sense, right? It doesn't like you.
I feel like it's easier said on this side of 25.
Maybe. I mean, I've been a bad kid and I've done things and I've been loud and whichever, but I just don't.
I thought you were a perfect angel like me.
I was when I was 3. I don't know, man. You gotta keep your cool because that shit starts to, filter into other parts of your life, man. Like right now, I'll tell you what. Here's how I'll wrap it back to Fred Vanvleet. The Raptors are looking at Fred right now like he's a family man. He doesn't lose his cool. He doesn't get in trouble in the media. The point guard that you would have liked to see come up behind him, right? If you're able to get rid of Kyle Lowry for Al Horford, is the point guard that's coming up behind him is now in the streets losing his cool. You know what I mean? Now you got to pay Fred. You got to pay Fred because you need that to keep your team culture going if you lose Lowry. I mean, and not that you didn't have to pay it before. I'm just saying outside of the basketball part of it where it's these guys are obviously talented on the court, Fred's demeanor means something to that organization. It's important.
And we don't know how far this goes, right? We don't know if the league does an investigation and all of a sudden Terence Davis is suspended for half the season.
Yeah.
Or if they do an investigation and Terence Davis is good, like, we don't know.
Right.
But when you look at Kyle Lowry, they had Fred VanVleet come up under him. He exemplifies what you want that person to step into the Kyle Lowry role to be.
Yes, he does.
And when you think about it, Fred is still too young for you to be thinking who's going to come up after Fred, right? You're thinking who's going to complement Fred. Now, granted, he seemed to blend with the team well.
Yeah, he is a chippy player, though.
He's a chippy player. This is not the first time he's actually gotten himself into some type of trouble. I don't know if you remember. When they first went into that bubble, he started posting conspiracy theories. Did you hear about that?
No.
He started posting conspiracy theories about COVID-19 and why the fuck are we wearing masks because this, that, and the third. And then he brought that all the way back the very next day when the team spoke to him about it.
Yeah, he ain't making enough money to tell people the earth is flat like Kyrie. Kyrie got away with that for like 2 months.
Yeah. Kyrie's definitely got earth is flat money.
You know, he got that money. He can say whatever he wants, and, you know, they'll listen for a while. Man, I just think, like, and it's not set in stone for him. We don't know if he did it, but, like, you just don't want that chink in your armor right now for that kind of organization. You know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, it just hurts his value a little bit. Hopefully, you know, regardless of whether or not it happened, you still found yourself in that situation. Right, which I think is something that you have to actively avoid, right? And I think that's important for young men to know too, is how to actively avoid situations that may put you in a, you know what I mean, in a sticky one, right? Remains to be said how much they pay Fred, but hopefully they can keep him around because I think he can learn a lot from this. He is a chippy player. I have seen him go off on a couple guys every now and then.
We're talking about Terence Davis?
Yeah. You know what I mean? I have seen him be in the mix a couple times, and that intensity definitely bodes well for him on the court, but you have to find the balance.
Yeah, but I don't see anything wrong with that. It's like Serge Ibaka seems like the model citizen.
Yeah.
I would not fuck with Serge Ibaka.
Because you see him do that.
If I was Marquise Chris, I've seen people quickly regret.
Yeah. When Serge get real vexed.
And you can tell Serge doesn't care.
No, well, he does now, right? And here's the thing, right? Serge has had his best year ever this year, and I've not seen Serge be the one to start a fight at all.
He's not going to start a fight, but he will finish it.
Yeah, but he wouldn't even get into it. Like that year, it wasn't this year, sorry. The championship year that we played, that was one of his best years ever.
Yeah.
Right? And
that was the year that he draped up, was it Marquise Chris?
No, he didn't drape up anybody that year.
He did.
No.
Who was it? I promise you he did. Draped him up by the neck and held him up against the stanchion.
That was the year before, man. Year before. We went to the finals. Serge has been a model because, and even he said, he's like, I can't be doing that kind of stuff anymore. Like, that doesn't make sense. I'm here to win. Right? And it's like, I think that's what bringing a star player does for you. Is like, it gives you that sense of, this is bigger than me, right?
I mean, and on the court, I can't lie, I love that Serge.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. But
toughness?
I also don't mind Serge not getting a technical foul and the game swinging 10 points after that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, those momentum shifts, they matter. Like, look at Russell Westbrook. I think that's why he's, here we go. Right? I'm just saying, here we go. Like, Russell Westbrook is a guy who's chippy. You see the problems he's had. He's not a winner. Very good player. I can't call him a winner yet. DeMarcus Cousins, very chippy. Hard to call him a winner because he hasn't won anywhere.
I think it might be because DeMarcus Cousins isn't on the court.
No, man.
Anymore. Like, he hasn't really been on the court.
Even
for the
when
last
he
2
was
seasons.
on the court, man. How many games did he cost?
I feel like
his
he's
team?
tempered his chippiness, but I can't say he has.
He hasn't been on the court
because
enough.
he hasn't been on the court.
Jimmy Butler is your perfect balance.
Jimmy Butler is chippy, but he's chippy when he needs to be.
Exactly.
He gets him getting into people's faces is to get his team going.
Exactly.
And if they get into his face, and if he's been fucking up,
yeah,
the way he approaches it is like they've earned the right to be in his face like that.
right? It's not just about walking away, but having the balance intact is what matters the most to me. Like, don't be a guy that's out here that somebody can provoke a reaction out of you, right? That when somebody provokes a reaction out of you and you react, you still a bitch. You were still that person's bitch for 15 seconds.
I almost agree. I agree with that statement if you are over 25 years old.
Nah, I'll be teaching that to my son.
That's fair.
From the minute, if I have a son, I'll be teaching that. I'm not going to teach him, you know what?
Not everybody has that luxury, though.
Yeah, but that's full circle. That's why fathers are important, right? And that's why the black community really needs to understand that we're at more of a detriment because we already have a generation that it's magnified that we're missing fathers. To wrap it up, Terence Davis is a young kid with a lot of talent and is in an extremely fortunate situation, right? This girl, whatever may have happened, you have to be able to walk away from that, son, because if you don't, you're putting all of that on the line, right? This opportunity that you have, NBA players talk about it all the time, making it out of certain circumstances, coming up with nothing, and so on and so forth. Now you've been given this opportunity. You cannot react the same way. You cannot carry this with you. You have to be able to let go of these situations and walk away. We'll see what happens with him. I pray for the kid. I hope that it's not any big trouble for him. You know what I mean? And I hope that the young lady in the situation is okay as well. I hope she's not injured or whichever. And I hope that they can come to a term that they don't have to involve the courts or a system that hasn't been for them to solve their problem.
So what I'm going to say is, as it stands right now, nobody knows exactly what happened in that hotel room outside of these people and any other witnesses.
Exactly. Or a lobby.
We, the general public.
Lobby?
What's that?
I think it was the lobby. Maybe it was a hotel room.
I just know that we, the general public, don't know exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Maybe there was video evidence. We don't know anything yet.
Find the next gal.
So with that said, I'm just saying that I don't condone punching a woman in her face
at all.
I really hope that they can square this away without the law being involved. Yeah. However, if Terence Davis punched her in her face,
he will have to pay the consequences.
Then he's got to pay the consequences of that.
Unfortunately.
Right? Yes. So I'm not saying, hey, if he punched her in the face, I'm hoping they can handle this without the law.
Well,
right? Because truthfully, if that's my sister, that nigga's going to jail.
I feel you. You know, let this be an example, which we hope doesn't turn into an example. But to foresee it, like, you know, if it does turn out he punched her, you know, he's going to lose a lot.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
And she's going to lose a lot.
I'm cautiously optimistic that nobody loses a lot, and it turns out that it was a domestic argument that got out of hand.
Blown out of proportion.
And that he didn't actually strike her.
No, maybe he pushed her face.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Kudos.
You seen that video of Ray J? I just seen it on social media the other day, and I don't watch anything Ray J, but it was him and I think Princess Love is her name. And then the bodyguard came and grabbed her out of the pool. Yeah, but that's one of those where, bro, you don't do that to a woman, but at the same time, everybody and their grandmother's looking at that footage and laughing.
Yeah, you deserve that one, is what you said.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, we'll see what happens with him. I think next week we'll do the Fred Vanvleet thing. You know, we'll see if we can dive into that. Maybe we'll talk about OG next week too. Across the world, there's a lot of people fighting for different views and justices. Brothers and sisters in Nigeria, you know, Muslims in China, women here, indigenous people here. Damn. White people fighting for stuff right now. Everybody fighting for something. But, you know, I stand with my brothers in Nigeria. I don't think police brutality is something that any of us should really have two questions about. I know police have got a tough job, and we're not saying that we don't appreciate them, but I definitely would like to see a better handle on the way that authority, when it is abused, how we are delivering consequences to that and how we're going to stop that. So I pray for the kids and the youth of Nigeria and, you know, all the citizens of Nigeria. Along with that, some of my favorite basketball players from there, you know, some of my family, best friends. So definitely pray for them and anybody else that's trying to make it happen. And we'll see you next week. Thank you. All right, August.
We wrap?
We a wrap. Fucking there.
I'll make sure I zoom in on that.
Right? August. All right.